Ladies and gentlemen, there are seasons in life when everything seems stuck. You have prayed, waited, worked, sacrificed, and kept moving even when you could not see evidence that anything was changing. You may have wondered how long you would have to stand in the same place, face the same disappointment, or carry the same burden. But sometimes the greatest shift begins before you can see it. Sometimes the situation changes quietly before the evidence becomes visible. You are not required to understand every detail of what is happening around you. There are moments when your responsibility is simply to keep your heart steady while your circumstances are being rearranged. What looks like delay may be preparation. What feels like rejection may be redirection. What seems like an ending may be the doorway to something you never imagined. Favor has a way of changing the atmosphere around your life. It can open opportunities that effort alone could not create. It can bring the right people into your path, move obstacles out of the way, and give you strength to walk through doors that once seemed impossible. And when favor begins to shift your situation, you may realize that the struggle you thought would define you was only preparing you for a different chapter. Stop measuring your future by your present circumstances. Your current situation is not a permanent declaration over your life. Just because something has been difficult for a long time does not mean it will remain difficult forever. Just because you have experienced disappointment does not mean disappointment is your destiny. There is a difference between being in a difficult season and being destined for a difficult life. You have to learn how to separate what you are experiencing from who you are becoming. The pressure may be real, but it does not have the final word. The closed door may be real, but it does not mean every door is closed. The unanswered question may be real, but it does not mean there is no answer coming. Sometimes your greatest breakthrough begins when you stop fighting to control every outcome. You can work hard without becoming consumed by anxiety. You can make plans without demanding that everything happen according to your timeline. You can believe in better days without knowing exactly when they will arrive. Your peace cannot depend on circumstances behaving perfectly. There will be moments when you have to say, I may not understand this, but I refuse to surrender my hope. I may not see the way forward, but I will continue taking the next right step. I may feel tired, but I will not allow temporary exhaustion to convince me that my story is finished. That is strength. And perhaps you have been looking at what you lost instead of recognizing what you learned. Maybe the relationship ended, but you discovered your worth. Maybe the opportunity disappeared, but you discovered another ability within yourself. Maybe the plan failed, but you learned that your identity cannot be built around one outcome. Not every loss is punishment. Not every delay is denial. Sometimes something has to leave your hands because it cannot accompany you into your next chapter. Do not chase what has already shown you that it cannot hold your future. There is a season for releasing. There is a season for rebuilding. There is a season for becoming quiet enough to hear your own convictions again. And there is a season when the things you have been waiting for begin to move. When that shift comes, you must be ready to recognize it. Favor does not always look like a dramatic miracle. Sometimes favor looks like clarity. Sometimes it looks like having the courage to walk away. Sometimes it looks like meeting one person at exactly the right moment. Sometimes it looks like discovering an opportunity that perfectly matches the preparation you have been gathering for years. The shift may begin with something small, a conversation, an idea, an unexpected opportunity, a new level of confidence, a decision to stop settling. Do not despise small beginnings. A small change in direction can eventually create a completely different destination. And when your situation begins to change, remember the person you became while waiting. Do not become so fascinated with the new chapter that you forget the lessons of the old one. Do not allow new success to make you forget your resilience. Do not allow new opportunities to make you careless with your character. Your preparation matters. The discipline you developed when nobody was watching matters. The patience you learned when nothing was happening matters. The courage you built after disappointment matters. The boundaries you established after being taken for granted matter. You were not wasting time. You were becoming equipped. So lift your head. Stop speaking about yourself as though your worst season is your permanent identity. Stop allowing old disappointments to introduce you to your future. Stop repeating the language of defeat when your life is still unfolding. There is more ahead of you. You may not know exactly what it looks like, but you can prepare for it by becoming the person capable of carrying it. Strengthen your mind, guard your peace, work on your gifts, treat people well, make wise decisions, stay consistent, refuse bitterness, keep learning, keep growing. And when the opportunity arrives, do not let fear convince you that you are unqualified for the very thing you have been preparing to receive. Sometimes the biggest battle after a long season of struggle is believing that you are finally allowed to experience something good. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to succeed. You are allowed to become unfamiliar with the struggle that once felt normal. Your past may explain some of your fears, but it does not have to control your future. So if your situation feels uncertain today, breathe. Take another step. You do not have to solve your entire life in one day. You only need enough courage for the next decision, enough wisdom for the next step, and enough faith to believe that your current chapter is not the whole story. Your situation can change. Your perspective can change. Your relationships can change. Your opportunities can change. And most importantly, you can change. One day you may look back at this season and realize that what felt like stagnation was actually preparation. What felt like isolation created maturity. And what felt like a setback positioned you for a future you could not yet see. So keep going, keep building, keep believing in what is possible. Do not let today's circumstances bully you into giving up on tomorrow. The chapter is still being written, and your current situation does not have the authority to define the ending. There are moments in life when you look around and wonder, is this really where my story ends? You have faced the same struggle for so long that you begin to mistake familiarity for permanence. You start believing that because something has been difficult for months or years, it must always remain difficult. But your current situation is only a chapter, not the entire story. What you are experiencing right now may be real, but it does not have the authority to determine everything that comes next. Sometimes life places you in circumstances that challenge your confidence. You may experience rejection, disappointment, financial pressure, broken relationships, unanswered questions, or opportunities that seem to disappear at the exact moment you needed them. Yet none of these moments can define your entire future. A closed door is not proof that there are no doors left. A setback is not proof that you have failed. A delay is not proof that nothing is happening. You have to learn to stop making permanent conclusions from temporary situations. Just because you are struggling today does not mean you will struggle forever. Just because you cried yesterday does not mean your tomorrow will be filled with tears. Just because something did not work out does not mean your life is falling apart. There is still room for growth, restoration, opportunity, and transformation. Sometimes the shift begins inside you before it ever becomes visible around you. Your mindset changes. Your standards become stronger. Your confidence begins to return. You stop begging for what does not value you. You stop chasing what continually drains you. You begin choosing peace over approval and purpose over pressure. That internal transformation matters because when your perspective changes, you begin seeing possibilities that fear previously hid from you. Do not allow one painful chapter to make you distrust the entire book of your life. You have survived moments you once thought would destroy you. You have learned lessons through experiences you never wanted. You have discovered strength in places you did not know existed. So do not call your life finished while you are still becoming. The situation may look uncertain, but uncertainty is not the same as hopelessness. And where you are today is not where you have to remain forever. There are moments when the greatest shift in your life does not come because you worked harder, pushed harder, or forced another door open. Sometimes the change begins when you realize that you do not have to make everything happen by yourself. Favor can create opportunities that your own strength could never manufacture. It can place you in rooms you never expected to enter, connect you with people you never expected to meet, and create possibilities that once seemed completely out of reach. But favor does not always arrive looking dramatic. Sometimes it appears as a simple opportunity that requires courage. Sometimes it comes through a conversation that gives you a new perspective. Sometimes it is the clarity to recognize that something you desperately wanted is no longer aligned with the person you are becoming. You may have prayed for one specific outcome, only to discover that a different path carries greater purpose. That is why you cannot become so attached to one particular door that you fail to notice another opening. Your situation can shift through one decision. One introduction can change your network. One skill can change your career. One courageous conversation can change a relationship. One moment of clarity can change the way you see yourself. Never underestimate what can happen when preparation meets opportunity. Perhaps you have been looking at your circumstances and saying, nothing is changing. But change does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it begins quietly, underneath the surface. Your confidence may be growing, your wisdom may be increasing, your priorities may be becoming clearer, your tolerance for things that once controlled you may be disappearing. That is movement. Do not become discouraged because you cannot see the entire picture. You only need to recognize the next step. Keep developing yourself. Keep showing up. Keep learning. Keep becoming stronger and wiser. When an opportunity appears, you want to be prepared enough to recognize it and courageous enough to step into it. And when your circumstances finally begin to shift, remember that you are not simply receiving something new. You are stepping into a season that requires a new level of responsibility, maturity, discipline, and confidence. Favor may open the door, but you must have the courage to walk through it and the wisdom to handle what is waiting on the other side. Your waiting season has not been wasted. There were days when you felt as though nothing was happening, when you questioned whether all the effort, patience, and endurance would ever lead somewhere meaningful. But sometimes the most important work happens when there is no visible evidence of progress. You may not see the results yet, but you can still be growing in ways that will matter when your next opportunity arrives. Think about everything difficult seasons have taught you. You learned patience when you had no choice but to wait. You learned discernment after trusting people who did not deserve your trust. You learned resilience when you had to keep moving while carrying disappointment. You learned how to stand on your own when the support you expected was not available. These lessons may have come through painful experiences, but they have also strengthened parts of you that comfort never could. Preparation often feels ordinary while you are experiencing it. You may think you are simply surviving another difficult day, but every day you continue moving forward, you are building endurance. Every time you choose discipline instead of giving up, you are developing strength. Every time you choose peace instead of bitterness, you are becoming more emotionally mature. Do not compare your timeline to someone else's. Someone else's breakthrough does not mean your life is behind. People have different paths, different responsibilities, different lessons, and different seasons. Your assignment is not to race another person. Your assignment is to become ready for what belongs in your own life. Sometimes you are waiting because you are being prepared to carry something you once asked for. An opportunity may arrive, but without wisdom, it can become overwhelming. A relationship may come, but without healthy boundaries, old patterns can destroy it. Success may appear, but without discipline, success can become another source of pressure. So use this season wisely. Strengthen your character, improve your skills, heal from what you can, learn from what happened, build healthier habits, protect your focus, become comfortable with growth even when nobody applauds it. One day, you may understand why you needed the strength you were developing in this quiet season, and you may realize that the waiting was preparing you for more than you could see at the time. When your situation begins to shift, You must be prepared to recognize the opportunity instead of allowing fear to make the decision for you. Sometimes we spend so much time asking for change that when change finally appears, we become uncomfortable with it. The familiar struggle can feel safer than an unfamiliar possibility. You know how to survive what you have already experienced, but you may not yet know how to carry what you have been waiting for. That is why preparation matters. You cannot keep asking for a new chapter while holding tightly to the habits, fears, and mindsets that belong to the old one. If you want different results, you have to become willing to think differently, respond differently, and make different choices. Growth often requires you to leave behind behaviors that once protected you, but now prevent you from moving forward. Protect your peace. Not everyone needs access to your plans, your energy, or your attention. You do not have to explain every decision to everyone. Sometimes silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Give yourself room to grow without constantly seeking approval from people who cannot understand where you are going. Strengthen your confidence as well. Do not wait until someone else believes in you before you begin believing in yourself. You have survived difficult moments, learned from mistakes, and continued moving forward. That history is evidence that you are capable of handling more than you once thought possible. Prepare your gifts, improve your skills, learn something new. Take care of the responsibilities already in your hands. You do not need to know exactly when the next opportunity will arrive to begin preparing for it. Preparation turns uncertainty into readiness. And when the door opens, do not allow fear to convince you that you are unqualified. You may feel nervous and still move forward. You may have questions and still take the next step. Courage does not mean you feel no fear. It means fear does not get to make every decision for you. Your next season may require a stronger version of you, not a perfect version. You do not have to have everything figured out. You simply need to remain teachable, disciplined, focused, and willing to grow as new opportunities appear before you.